Right now, we are uniquely positioned to make a creator-owned comic very successful. That's becoming more and more common in the age of the internet and creator-owned comics. Sorry, my office is a mess. I've got a few on my shelf right back there, but this is one here that I'm about to share with you that I picked up 3-4 years ago, and it was incredible artwork, great storytelling. And then the artist got busy with a whole bunch of other projects. Well, on Facebook, he just started kind of sharing the art from this book and hinting at work on a sequel. So I wanted to do what little bit I could here to hype you guys up for Drew Edward Johnson's Midnight Society. But before I do that, I'm going to share another graphic novel series that I was a big fan of that got canceled a little bit earlier in its run, to kind of show you why I'm really excited for this other sequel and that I want it to be a success. All right, Sons of Liberty was a graphic novel published by Random House, so big deal there. Written by the Lagos brothers, and then Steve Walker and Oren Kramik, did the art on the first two. The original was just titled Sons of Liberty. The sequel was called Death and Taxes. There was going to be a third one and a fourth. I think they were contracted for 4, and then unfortunately poor sales kind of did them in. Third one was going to be called Join or Die, and it never came out, which is really unfortunate because some of the sample art they released looked incredible. This right here shows you the two titular characters, which, their names jumped out at me because they were Graham and Brody, and there just aren't enough good Grahams in literature. We don't get a whole lot of representation. Well, what's especially interesting is that Graham and Brody. This book, obviously, because you can tell by the title, takes place in the American Revolution. Graham and Brody were escaped slaves that were then captured and experimented on by Benjamin Franklin's demented son, and those experiments landed them with superpowers, which they then used, in the cause of freedom. I don't want to share the whole thing here, but it made them stronger, faster, more agile. They could jump around and stuff. In fact, the book kind of opens with this awesome brawl that the two brothers, they're not biological brothers, but they become these kind of masked vigilantes. This is them later in their adult years, and them getting ready to duke it out here, and they get cornered. And I've always loved this one line: "What happens next will repeat itself in the nightmares of the foot soldiers for the remainder of their lives, vivid and terrifying in its capacity to defy reason." And then, unfortunately, we do kind of do a past jump to explain, who they are and how they got these powers. So, a bit of a stolen prologue there, but exciting artwork, and the historical research for the characterization and all that stuff is done extremely well. That's the first book. Second book was, again, really, really beautiful, really well done. We get more into, the history and motivation of these characters. You see them, figuring out a purpose for themselves, why they use these powers, and all that. Man, just going through it is bringing really great memories to the surface here. I was fortunate enough to be able to reach out to the Lagos brothers and do interviews with them for my old website, my old blog, on a Gram page. In fact, I probably still have those interviews somewhere in my email and could brush them off and put them on my Dread Pennies website. Anyway, just an incredibly beautiful series that if it were launched now would probably get a lot more attention. I don't think that it was the fact that the protagonists were black or anything that did this one in, so much as it was that these ones came out right around the time of like the big Tea Party protests and organizations and stuff in 2010, and I wonder if people like associating that with some of the media branding of that made them want to say, well, I don't want to read this pro-America, patriot, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, this was a really cool concept and the art was great and all that stuff. So, if that's what did it in and ultimately led to its poor sales, that's really too bad because it was excellent. There's another piece of the artwork for one of the future books that I can't seem to find. I don't know where I saved it, but you guys know how much I love me some Headless Horseman, some Sleepy Hollow references. I'm wearing my Headless Horseman t-shirt right now. And apparently in one of the future books, Graham and Brody were going to fight the Headless Horseman. And there's this just gorgeous, gorgeous piece of artwork that they released to generate hype for that. And then, ash heap of history. And looking on Amazon's page, it doesn't look like the Lagos brothers have gone on to do anything else. I think I found Walker and Kramick on Twitter once and tried to reach out to them to see, if they had anything to say about the third book potentially coming out, and it doesn't appear that it's going to happen. So that's a bit of a bummer. So knowing all that, I hope you'll be able to appreciate what I'm about to show you in Drew Edward Johnson's Midnight Society. I'm trying to hold this so that it captures the whole cover, but it also doesn't get the glare from my ceiling lights. So you got a bunch of different elements going on in the cover. You got this guy with this kind of cool Rocketeer-looking fantasy helmet. Main character gal with a diving suit on, gun, gear belt, some cattails and stuff that kind of shows you the environment that she's dealing with, and then this winged fairy. Just amazing. These right here are some of the images that Johnson's been sharing on Facebook, showing the colors and the light value and stuff. You got these two, again, we're going really heavy into the kind of steampunk Indiana Jones aesthetic here, but it's a little bit more magic than technology. There's one particular shot in here that I want to find. In fact, it might be back a page or two. The two explorers coming into the cave. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I don't want to put it all, on YouTube. I think you guys should definitely grab this yourselves. But look at these, kind of techie looking wings that he's got here as they're invading this fairy cave. Where's the shot? This one right here. Look at the motion in that, how dynamic that is. You can just see them kind of skid into a halt as they're hopping through this cave. It's just incredible. But the real kicker shot right here is when we meet Matilda Finn. She's some kind of agent, some kind of special this, that, the other thing. She gets a call. She's got to go into work. Obligatory shower scene. She goes in, and take a quick look at this one right here. She meets Anne, the secretary, sits in a nice big sort of modern office, nice fish tank behind her. She says, okay, go right in. So she goes into the door, and holy crap, big old wash of light. She gets sucked in through a portal to another dimension, and Anne is completely indifferent. Whatever, this happens to her 1,000 times a day. Well, it's because she got shrunk down, and the office is behind the fish tank, behind Anne. I saw that and I was like, man, that was a really cool turn. And using the colors the way that his colorist does to to show that there's the barrier of water between Arcturus's office and Anne's desk, just awesome. So that there's magic in play here. There's a little bit of a Lovecraftian aesthetic there with tentacles and whatnot. You got a Pegasus, a whole bunch of different stuff going on. Matilda Finn is some kind of special agent who is sent to fight something going on in Scotland. I don't want to reveal too much beyond that. But between the artwork and the story and the characters and the coloring and just everything, this is everything that I look for in a really cool graphic novel, and especially one where I hope it ends up kicking off a series. I'm trying to remember when this one was actually published. I think I heard about this one. Yeah, first edition was 2016. That's right around the time that I bought it. I want to say it was James Owen probably who plugged this. I think Drew Edward Johnson is some professional contact of his. You guys know how I love James Owen's work. But I picked it up, was not disappointed. I think the only disappointing thing is that I haven't gotten a sequel sooner. But he was working on another series called The Shield. I think I bought those on Comixology, and just been kind of sitting patiently with this one, on the back burner of my mind. And then he started sharing images from it on Facebook the other day, and I was like, yeah, I want a piece of this one. So I didn't want to just review this one on the Brother Trucker Book Club podcast because graphic novels need to be enjoyed visually. So this one's going up on the YouTubes. But check out Midnight Society, The Black Lake by Drew Edward Johnson.